I just loved it. I never had liked, well, they hadn't been anything like rock and roll before Buddy, and I liked everything Buddy did, and liked the way he did it.
That'll Be the Day. Those words from Buddy Holly's famous song took on new meaning recently. In April 2022, Larry Holly, Buddy's older brother, passed away at age 96. But before he died, Larry shared some startling information about his famous sibling. Today, we're exploring the Holly family's story, including behind-the-scenes secrets and revelations that Larry disclosed in his final years. The early years.
And now, Oh Boy with Buddy Holly and his Crickets. My Lord, all of my...
Charles Hardin Holly, known to the world as Buddy Holly, was born in Lubbock, Texas in 1936. The youngest of 4 children, Buddy grew up in a musical family during the Great Depression. His older brother Larry recalled, quote, "The entire family sang and played instruments, with the exception of Larry Sr., who said, 'Someone needs to listen.'" Even as a young child, Buddy showed remarkable talent. He won his first singing contest at just 5 years old. But music wasn't his only passion. The young Buddy loved the outdoors, spending his days hiking, fishing, and horseback riding in the Texas landscape. Buddy idolized his older brother Larry, following him everywhere, sometimes to places a child shouldn't go. Larry, a teenager more interested in chasing girls than babysitting, often brought Buddy along on his adventures. This led to some awkward moments, like when Buddy insisted on sleeping between Larry and his new wife on their camping honeymoon because he thought he heard a coyote. The rebel years. As Buddy entered his teenage years, he began to rebel against his strict Baptist upbringing. He started staying out late with his friends, hanging around a local cafe, and getting into mischief. The once good Baptist boy now enjoyed drinking, smoking, cursing, and even shoplifting. But Buddy's biggest vice was girls. His first sexual experience was a group encounter arranged by his friends, a far cry from his wholesome image. After that, Buddy jumped from girl to girl until he met Echo Elaine McGuire, a respectable middle-class girl who refused to sleep with him before marriage. But Buddy wasn't ready to settle down. While dating Echo, he reportedly had affairs with other girls, including one who may have gotten pregnant. As his brother Larry put it, he kept the rhythm steady. That Stratocaster fit him like a glove. The birth of a rock star. Buddy's life changed forever in 1955 when he saw Elvis Presley perform in Lubbock. Inspired by the King, Buddy decided to pursue a career in music. He formed a band with 2 friends, and soon they were opening for Elvis across Texas. By 1956, Buddy had signed with Decca Records. However, the experience was frustrating. The label wouldn't give him creative control, and his first recordings failed to make an impact. Even worse, when Decca dropped him, they claimed he couldn't record his songs for anyone else for 5 years. But Buddy wasn't going to let that stop him. He teamed up with producer Norman Petty and recorded That'll Be the Day, the song that made him a star. It shot to the top of the charts, making Buddy Holly a household name almost overnight. Love and marriage. As Buddy's star rose, his personal life took some turns. His longtime girlfriend, Echo McGuire, left him for a college boy while he was on tour, but fate had something else in store for Buddy. In 1958, he visited Pierce Southern Records for a meeting. There, he met receptionist Maria Elena Santiago. For Buddy, it was love at first sight. He asked her out before leaving the office that day and proposed on their first date. Within 2 months, they were married. But Buddy's manager, Norman, was furious about the marriage. He believed it would hurt Buddy's image as a teen heartthrob. At Petty's insistence, Maria pretended to be the band's secretary when she accompanied them on tour. Despite this arrangement, Maria proved to be more than just a trophy wife. She helped with the band's laundry, equipment setup, and even collected money at concerts. Trouble on the road. By early 1959, tensions were brewing. Maria had discovered Petty was stealing royalties from the band. This led to a messy legal situation that left Buddy short on funds. To make some quick money, he booked the ill-fated Winter Dance Party tour. The tour was a disaster from the start. The unheated bus broke down twice in the freezing Midwest winter. The band's drummer even got frostbite so bad he had to be hospitalized. By the time they reached Clear Lake, Iowa on February 2, 1959, Buddy had had enough. The day the music died.
3 years ago today, I didn't think I could stand it.
Desperate to avoid another freezing bus ride, Buddy chartered a small plane to take him to the next stop in Minnesota. He invited his bandmates Waylon Jennings and Tommy Allsup to join him, but fate had other plans. Another performer on the tour, Richie Valens, won Allsup's seat in a coin toss. Valens reportedly said, "This is the first time I've ever won anything in my life." Meanwhile, Waylon Jennings gave up his seat to J.P. the Big Bopper Richardson, who was feeling ill. In the early hours of February 3, 1959, the small Beechcraft Bonanza took off from Mason City Municipal Airport. It never reached its destination. The plane crashed in a cornfield just 5 miles from the airport, killing all on board. The aftermath.
We interrupt this program for a special news bulletin. 3 young singers who soared to the heights of show business on the current rock and roll craze were killed today in the crash of a light plane in an Iowa snow flurry.
The crash devastated the music world and Buddy's family. His mother learned of his death from a television report, leading to a change in how the media reports on celebrity deaths. But no one was more devastated than Maria Holley. Pregnant at the time, Maria suffered a miscarriage upon hearing the news. Her grief was so overwhelming she couldn't attend Buddy's funeral, nor has she ever visited his grave. Years later, she reflected, quote, "It was the only time I wasn't with him, and I blame myself because I know that if I had only gone along, Buddy never would have gotten into that airplane." The legacy.
I think of Buddy not out there in the graveyard. I think of him up there with the Lord.
Despite his tragically short career, Buddy left an indelible mark on rock and roll. His innovative use of the studio as an instrument, his songwriting prowess, and his distinctive vocal hiccups influenced countless musicians who followed. The Beatles, who took their name as a tribute to Buddy's band, the Crickets, were among his most famous admirers. Paul McCartney later purchased the rights to Holly's song catalog. Even today, songs like That'll Be the Day, Peggy Sue, and Not Fade Away remain rock and roll classics. Buddy's iconic look, his thick-rimmed glasses, and clean-cut appearance also left a lasting impact. His glasses, missing for over 20 years after the crash, were finally found in a courthouse box and are now on display in the Buddy Holly Center in Lubbock, Texas. The Rumors and Conspiracies. As with many tragic celebrity deaths, Buddy Holly's passing spawned numerous rumors and conspiracy theories. The discovery of his gun at the crash site 2 months later fueled speculation of foul play. Some wondered if the pilot's body being found further from the crash than the others was significant. However, these theories were eventually debunked. An official autopsy commissioned by the Big Bopper's son years later proved there had been no foul play. The truth was more simple and perhaps more tragic. A combination of bad weather, an inexperienced pilot, and possibly faulty instruments led to the crash. The music lives on.
That'll be the day when you make me cry. You say you're gonna leave. You know it's a lie, 'cause that'll be the day when I die. Well, that'll be.
Despite his brief career, Buddy Holly's influence on rock and roll can't be overstated. His innovative use of double tracking in the studio, his distinctive vocal style, and his songwriting prowess set new standards for the genre. Even today, 60 years after his death, Buddy's music continues to inspire new generations of musicians. His story serves as a reminder of the transformative power of rock and roll and the enduring impact one person can have on the world of music. Though he was taken far too soon, Buddy Holly's legacy lives on in the countless musicians he inspired and the timeless songs he left behind. As Don McLean famously sang in American Pie, February 3, 1959 truly was the day the music died. But thanks to the enduring power of Buddy's music, in many ways, that music will never fade away. Now it's time to hear from you. What's your favorite Buddy Holly song? Let us know in the comments section below.